Hey guys, happy Wednesday. It's almost 3 p.m. Today I want to talk about humility because I feel like if I was to look back at the last month or so of my life, it'd be like the one thing that kind of cinched everything together. So the first thing that happened in the last month or so was my sister got married. And at the wedding, she invited you know, parts of my family that I hadn't seen in 20 years. Um, and so these, like, my cousins that were there, the last time I saw them, they were like 7, 8, 9 years old, maybe even 10. They were very, very young. And I was like 13, 14, 15 years old. I left home at 17, so like again, I saw them only until they were about, at the oldest, like probably 8, 9, 10 years old. So I had this crazy experience of seeing people 20 years after, like their like pre-conscious years of life. I don't know, some people do remember being 7, 8, 9 years old, whatever, but like I think most people don't. So it was just crazy. It was like, it was so weird. I saw them, and I had very brief interactions with all but one of them. And it was just like, whoa, like you're basically the same person that you were as a, not toddler, but like just out of toddler. Um and it was kind of upsetting because like it did make me start pondering like free will a little bit, um because even though like I know that, like, with my study of MBTI, like when you're born, you are designated a personality type, and you stay that your whole life. So like on one hand, it wasn't unusual that these people were basically the same person that they were 20 years ago as young children. But like it, I didn't like most of them. I didn't like all of them except for one. And thinking about it, it's become abundantly clear to me, like, that the only reason that I liked this one cousin was because he had humility. The rest of them, like, they're not bad people. They're not, like, ostensibly bad people. Like, they're not. I don't think. I mean, one of them is very, very, very rude, and I know that it's because he's a very diminutive person. Like, he's like 4 foot and very scrawny, and I know that he's very, very insecure about that. So he says very, very mean things. Um, but like, what I'm getting at is like, what makes a person likable is humility. Like this cousin that I talked to that I liked, he's an ESFP, and the ESFP is I think they're known as the entertainer. They're like the most annoying person in the world. Like I'm sorry, personality type. They really are. They're just annoying. But he was completely tolerable because he had humility, which I do feel that overall Gen Z does have elevated levels of humility, just because they know things. Like they know about narcissists, like they know about I don't know, like gaslighting. They know about things that I feel like millennials, like, we didn't catch on to until like 10 years ago, when really as a society we started waking up to, you know, narcissists and psychopaths and gaslighting and all that stuff. So anyway, I just wanted to say, like, yeah, if you know, no matter who you are, like what your cloth is in life, like even if you are, you know, you're kind of an annoying person, like you can be totally likable to even someone like me who is extremely picky with who I will even talk to. If if you just have humility about you. Because again, like these other guys, they were not ESFPs. I think they were all introverts, and it was still like, I don't like you guys because you don't have any fucking humility. They all like were just like their parents, and they looked down on me for not having the same goals in life, which are, you know, the very quintessential American bullshit goals of like having a new car, having you know, a good job, and just living the normal life trajectory of, you know, of their parents, quite honestly, even though none of them were really doing it either. They had jobs, sure. I don't know what kind of cars they drive, but like none of them had children. So anyway, it doesn't matter. Like, so we'll start off with that. Like, this is what I realized about a month ago. Like, doesn't matter who or what you are, where you came from, if you don't have humility, you are not a good person. So, speaking of not a good person without any humility, enter Anthony Fauci, right? I don't know if you guys saw, but like a month or so ago, he basically got called out in just a theatrical play, horse and pony show kind of way, about the COVID-19 thing, which they basically, you know, in this hearing fake facade thing, told the entire world was fucking fake, was fucking bullshit, was all for fucking money, was all to just parade him around the world stage for whatever. I don't know. It was so weird. Like, this fucking guy, I don't know. I'm a very good judger of people. I'm a very good judger of people, and I have been for a long time. So from the very beginning, I looked at this guy and I thought, no, you're not trustworthy. I don't think you're smart. You have no humility. And yeah, like your advisement on as to which how I should live my life, and what I should put in my body is not something that is going to be entertained. Like, you are not the person to be trusted. But you know, millions of other people, 80% of the world's population, over 80% of the world's population decided, yeah, this guy is trustworthy. This guy is telling the truth. This guy knows his shit. What? He has no humility. At one point, I remember him being on the cover of like People magazine, and it said in big letters, "World's Sexiest Man," and they had a, you know, a cover photo shoot of him just being Zoolander, basically. Like, such a fucking clown world, you guys. So anyway, vindicated with Fauci, and I forgot to say, I was also vindicated with my cousins, because the one cousin that I talked to that was nice to me, he was telling me about his sister who was a year or two older than he is. So I knew her. I saw her more than I saw my cousins that were there, because they were a little bit younger, and it's just like they were just kind of kids. But his sister was, you know, 10 or 11, and so she was really making conscientious choices. You know, when you're 10 or 11, you're really like, you're online. And it was funny because I was just listening to him, but when he said his sister, you know, I reached back into my memory and I was like, oh yeah, that girl, she was slutty. She was slutty. Like, I looked at her as a 13, 14, 15-year-old and thought, you're going to make bad choices in your life. You're going to be a very young mother. And guess who was right? vindicated 20 years later, because that's what he ended up telling me was her life. She had 2 kids with like two dudes, and it was very stressful for her and even her like parents, her family unit, because like she just was so reckless, as a teenage as a you know as a teenager, like an early 20 year old. Like my cousin was telling me that their dad would go to her work, right before she got off work. She would drive herself, but he would go to her work right before she got off, park behind her, and then when she got out of her workplace, he would say, "All right, let's drive home." Like, he knew she was so fucking out of control that, that was his attempt to keep her from doing stupid shit. But unfortunately, right, like, you can't do that every day, because kids are dumb. Kids are willful, and that was her choice. And it was just crazy because it was 10 years after I saw her trajectory as a very young teenager myself, like barely teenager. So anyway, that was vindication number 1, and then vindication from Fauci. And all that said, it's like you can still get scammed in this world, because people are scamming nowadays. There's a lot of scammery going around. And unfortunately, the reality of the situation is, for every one scam artist, there are 20 victims at least. So, it's not. I can't tell you don't be a scammer, right? If you're a scammer, if you're a narcissist, if you don't have humility, you're not even watching this video, honestly. But that said, I think what's more important to focus on is the reality is you're more likely to be scammed than to be a scammer. Which on one hand is good, because you don't want to be one of those people. Like, they are the worst people. They hate themselves. They have terrible lives, and I do feel like narcissists are tools, ultimately, like, here to only like make people, through pain and anguish, and abuse, more conscientious of the fabric of reality, which isn't always just sunshine and rainbows. Like, reality is very, very tough, some days to accept. So just really, that's what I'm going to sign off with. Like, please really take stock of your life, at work, at the grocery store, with your friends, with your family. Like, just make sure that you're not being a complicit victim, because I do feel like the complicity that victims, when there is complicity by a victim, you're just as evil as the scammer, as the narcissist, as the abuser, because you are enabling their abuse, and you're emboldening them. Okay, like, that's what happens to narcissists, is they only get more and more emboldened, to steal from people, to steal from organizations, and ultimately they always get caught. They always get caught. Every Ponzi scheme, breaks down, and I do feel like most narcissists end up alone, end up isolated, and just very, very, very unhappy, very, very unhealthy. But as normal people, as good people, as actual people, like, it is our duty to watch out for ourselves, and also our fellow man. So if you know that, like, your mom or your sister or your dad or your boss or something is somebody who uses people and only takes and never gives away, and really just obfuscates like people's energy, and keeping them trapped, keeping them sick, keeping them like never knowing what side of them they're gonna see. Like, you need to pull away from that person, because you are supplying them with energy, and just emboldening them to to keep doing what they're doing. We have to just stop them. I know it's gonna be extremely difficult for humanity to un-narcissist the world. And again, it might be impossible, because I do feel like narcissists are tools. They're not people. They are tools that are used to awaken people to, again, the fabric of reality, which is not as beautiful as you think, but it is real. And the life, the trance of living under our narcissist, it's not real, and it's not enjoyable, and and you deserve better. You deserve better. So find people, find organizations that have humility, who don't gaslight you, who don't fucking tell you stupid shit like, I know what's best for you, and this is the only way, and goddamn goat. One of our goats, one of the baby goats, is so fucking annoying. His mom is black, so if she's in the shade, he can't see her. So I'm gonna go. But yeah, please just take care of yourself. Please don't add to the supply of a narcissist. Remove yourself. And just, again, humility is the name of the game. If it's not in it, neither should you be. So take care. Have fun. Bye.